Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another review video. I guess it's more of a tour. Anyway, it's a 2002 BMW 330 Ci. This is similar to the one that we just had recently, but anyway, so let's just get right into it. So this is one of my friend's cars. This is my friend Kevin. He buys these and then kind of fixes them up and sells them. So the way that it works is he'll find a deal on a car or a car that he wants to own or something like that, and he'll get a good deal based on the fact that it needs some work, and then we generally go about taking care of that work. The thing is that recently, a lot of the projects that we have seem to be getting sold before we even get them done. So it's a good problem to have. But this is another one. So I'm going away for a couple days. This car isn't finished, but I'm afraid that it's probably going to even be sold by the time I'm back. So I just wanted to put something together to kind of look over it while we can. And this one's actually this one needs some work, but there's a lot of things on it that are really good. So anyway, let's just get right into it. Starting here at the front. So you'll notice this is black. There's a couple issues with the paint all over the car, which we'll kind of look at. If you notice here on the hood, there are some spots. Kind of like right in here. The clear coat is kind of letting go. Same thing for the bumper, and then also this fender here. And there's a couple dents and dings down the back, down the sides and back of the car. And the goal was to repaint the entire car. The rear bumper's been repainted. You'll notice there's a little bit of orange peel on it right now, but the goal would have been to paint the car. But again, if somebody's interested in it, they can have it. Other than that, the headlamps are in really nice shape. You're going to need a new BMW emblem there for the hood. Otherwise, the windshield's in good shape, no cracks or chips. These wheels are another thing. This one here, you can't see it in the shade, but just so that you're aware, if you're looking at this video for purchase, the clear coat is chipped on this, or kind of like all cracked on this wheel. So we'll either need to replace this wheel, replace all the wheels, or refinish all the wheels, or maybe just this one, but they're in decent shape otherwise. Good, well, I should say decent tires on this vehicle, pretty good, good tread. These are new brake pads, new slotted and drilled rotors, and he's actually painted the calipers on this car. I could probably live without that, but I do think it looks good on this car. It really pops next to the black paint. Going down the side, no real scrapes or anything. There's a couple dings in in the fender and door, but nothing too major. Going down the side, again, everything's in good shape. You can kind of see the orange peel here on the bumper, though it's not too bad. These lights are a little dull, as they all get, so you might want to order a replacement set. Otherwise, the antenna's in good shape. The emblem back here is fine, and the same down this side of the car. And of course, this is for those who don't know, this is the E46. These were made from, I think, 1998, but anyway, the late 90s, maybe 1999, I can't remember at the moment, but from the late 90s till about 2005, and very popular, very nice vehicles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, so looking inside the vehicle, we'll just start here at the back. So everything's in pretty good shape with the tonneau cover. You can see there's a little bit of fading here. It's a little bleached out, not terrible. This has been, even with minimal cleaning, we haven't even gotten a chance to do a deep detail on this yet. The leather and the seats are in really nice shape back here. A couple smudges, but nothing too bad. This car has about 175,000 miles on it, so there's going to be some things on it that aren't perfect, but these cars aren't going for top dollar either. So it's actually, if you can put up with a couple age-related wear points, you're going to get into a really nice car that's been serviced and maintained really well. Just has some extra miles on it. This door panel's in really nice shape. Again, this typical wood is chipping as they get on these cars, and also across the dash, but it still presents pretty well, still looks decent. This car's in a little bit better shape than the 323 that we recently looked at. You'll notice not as much chipping or wear. This seat is a little bit worn out. It looks really nasty in the sunlight here on camera. It's not, it's not ripped or torn. This one isn't, but it's okay. The nice thing with these seats is that you can move them out of the way when the doors are open. They'll power out, so you can get in. These are new floor mats in place also. Nice power seats with lumbar on this car. Pretty nice shape on this side. Let's go around to the other side and take a look. All right, now this seat, The leather's in a little bit nicer shape overall, but there are a couple rips and tears, as you can see here. This is going to need to be addressed however you choose to do so, and this as well in the seat. And again, these are things that we would have taken care of or will take care of in time. So if you're curious of the status of these, just make sure to check with us. Same thing with the center console. It's worn, so typical of a car this age. Actually, I'll tell you what, before we get into the controls, let's just take a look at the trunk. I'm kind of doing this out of sequence today, but that's all right. All right, so you have a nice big trunk here with the toolkit. I like how they put everything there that it's pre-wired for. So nice spare tire, everything's in really nice shape. It's really nice and clean. I can't show you this right now with the top down, but if you pull this lever forward and push, this will actually clear out of the way, and you do have a pretty decent sized trunk, and there's a subwoofer back there. But yeah, pretty decent sized trunk for a car this size, so very nice. All right, let me grab the key here and we'll take a look. Okay, so the other nice thing about this car that, well, maybe not nice, but the interesting thing about this car is that it's actually a 5-speed manual. So take a look at that here in a second. So let me just start this up. We'll go ahead and start it. Okay, make sure we're in neutral here. All right, so there's your mileage, 175,749. That will go up a little bit, in time. The seatbelt light's on right now. I'm not buckled up, and I won't because we'll look under the hood next. But no lights on the dash. Everything runs really well. Sounds great. You've got your light controls over here, fog lights here. You've got your turn signals here. These are in really nice shape as well. Usually they get all gummed up, and you'll see the hieroglyphics worn off. These are in good shape. Same over here for your wipers. The steering wheel, just like a lot of BMWs, it does have the wear kind of around these edges here, so that's there, just so you're aware of that. This does have an aftermarket stereo. I'm never a fan of that, but the one thing that it does do in these cars, and maybe others, but at least in this one, it deactivates all the controls on the steering wheel, so just something to keep in mind. We might even get the factory head unit, but again, see what happens. Climate control right here, all your adjustments for where the air, for air distribution, automatic, your fan and temperature adjustments are there. This is your recirculation, front and rear defrost, AC right there. And then you have your bins right here. I think this would have been a phone. And then that's your ashtray right there. Not sure why we're getting a top warning right now. I may not have put that down the whole way. But at any rate, then you have all your window switches here, and I like this one here. If you pull on that one, it runs all the windows up all at the same time, and then down at the same time, so that's really clever. Down here you have your hazard light, and one thing I find interesting on this is when you press it, it really lights up. It gets really bright. Then you have your lock and unlock button there. Okay, and then there's a center console, and then this would, there would be like a cup holder that would go here, but we don't have that right now. That might be in the garage, might not have come with the car. Then you have your emergency brake or parking brake there. This shifter has been changed. Apparently this is what would have come on a like a BMW M3, so it's kind of nice. We'll get more into that. The interesting thing about this to me is this is the only car, not the only, but one of the few cars I've driven with where reverse is up and to the left. So with this, you really do have to pull it to the left very much. You wouldn't put it into first gear by mistake. So up here on the mirror, this is self-dimming, and you also have your home link buttons there. You've got lights up here, nice visors with a mirror there. Same on the passenger side. And let's take a look. Another thing I wanted to look at on these seats. So you have all these adjustments here for lumbar, multiple adjustments here. You can raise and lower the headrest. And then of course the seat belt follows with that. This is actually in pretty decent shape, so not terrible in this car. And the headrests do tilt, and also this one has memory, at least on the driver's side. All right, let's take a look under the hood. So the release is right down here. And then this piece pops out, and you just lift that up. All right, a couple things are out right now for service, but overall you can see everything's in really nice shape. Everything's nice and clean. good to go. So again, this is an older car, far from perfect. It's going to need a little bit of care. It could use a couple things here and there, but it's still a vehicle that you can enjoy and get some use out of, especially with the top down for the summer. And speaking of that, let me cycle the top and you can take a look with that. So let me drop the video and we'll pick it up in a moment. Okay, now that I've cycled the top down completely, if you press this button right here, it will raise the top. You'll notice the tonneau cover comes up, and then this top rises, and then it'll get to about this position here and pause, and then the fifth bow comes up out of the way for the tonneau cover to latch down, and then the header will meet and it latches itself. Alright, and then if you stay on the button, all the windows will roll themselves up. So let's take a look outside the car. Looks like we've got some dogs going crazy back here, but anyway. Alright, and then that's what it would look like with the top up. I think I might drive this with the top up today. It's not really warm out, but it'll be nice and quiet that way. And also the headliner in this car is in pretty nice shape overall, nice and clean. Good to go. So this will be the first part of the test drive that I always seem to do, but everything's nice and civilized. I just left the parking lot that I was in. This car is just a treat to drive, but just driving through town right now, I've got the AC on, blows ice cold air, works great. This top is really well insulated, the cabin's nice and quiet. There really aren't too many squeaks or rattles to speak of, especially not for an old convertible. There's no complaint whatsoever. This car also has great audio. I find it powerful enough to really compensate for having the top open, even if you're driving on the highway or something like that. So that does really well. There's a lot of nice creature comforts in this car. Also heated seats, if I didn't mention that already. But everything's nice and nice and smooth. It feels like a luxury car. So the main difference that separates this from the 323 that we had a little while ago is that this has quite a bit more power. That one had, I believe, 170 horsepower. This one more like 225, so it's a significant boost. My only complaint with that car overall, I mean, that particular one wasn't in great shape either, but just as a car, as far as the driving experience goes, my only complaint with that was that it was just a little light on power. It would just get flat-footed, and the automatic was a little bit sleepy. In sport mode it was fine, but the rest of the time it was just a little bit too much. And of course, manual mode always seems to work great with BMW automatics, but I just don't like doing that. I think that the car should make its own decisions. I think that's more the way of that those vehicles should be driven, and if you want to shift it manually, you should just buy an actual manual transmission vehicle. But at any rate, that's what we have here. So with a little bit more power and the proper transmission, we'll see what happens, but I can already tell this is going to be a really nice vehicle to drive. Also, the ride is fairly soft, but it's still very nimble and tight. It doesn't feel like a boat, but it also doesn't feel rock hard and stiff like that newer 335i coupe that I drove a while back. This is really like the perfect match of ride and power and everything for me, but we'll get into it a little bit more here once we get out of town. So now that I have the car out where we can really take it for a drive, the first thing I notice is it's very engaging and exciting to drive. This transmission shifts smoothly and very nice. The power delivery is excellent. There's no flat spots. It just keeps on going. It just hooks up and goes. Driving this car is just like a breath of fresh air. It drives like a car should. This really, to me, I mean, I don't mean to get too editorial here, but this is like the perfect car for me to drive. Everything about it is just great. There's enough power that you can use, but then there's a little extra there. It just goes. The engine sounds great. Everything's smooth. Like I said, shifts very nice. This is just an incredibly engaging car to drive. It's something that you can use all the power of without getting into trouble. It has just enough. It's not so little that it feels slow, not so much that it's too much. This is just a great car for all seasons. So again, this car, not being perfect, it has a lot of cosmetic flaws, admittedly. If somebody would be interested in this in its condition, it's ready to go. Everything's serviced mechanically. Everything is all set. And it may look a little rough. If it's too rough for you, thanks for watching. But this car also isn't going to be sold for a huge fortune either. this will be a bargain by the time it's listed. So anyway, any interest, be in touch, and thank you for watching.